Hey YouTube, it's Laughing Witch. I'm going to do another video. Everybody's doing videos because Thunderfoot's dad is dead. I'm going to start off saying, my parents have been dead a while. It's very painful to lose a parent. We all knew when we were born that, well, not when we were born, but shortly afterward, that we were going to lose our parents. As soon as we were conscious of death, we were aware we were going to lose them. It's not to say I don't have some sympathy for him, having been through it twice. But I did want to go on and say, I am not sorry for supporting Bewildered Ape satire.
And this is where I'm afraid your sympathy kind of just wears thin and kind of just becomes obsolete, because basically you're not sorry for basically supporting someone who used Thunderfoot's dad as the excuse of getting at Thunderfoot.
In which he basically throws the insensitivity and the cruelty that Thunderfoot has treated people back in his face.
I mean, firstly, I've never seen Thunderfoot ever, and believe me, I've been watching his old feminist videos, and I've not seen anything at any point that shows him to be treating somebody cruel. I've not seen him treat anyone cruelly. And what do you mean by insensitive? Define insensitive, Laughing Witch. Come on. Insensitive? What? Did it hurt your feelings? So what if it hurt your feelings? If he's going to be tough on someone ideologically, intellectually, that's not being cruel. Insensitive maybe, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. Come on. Again, we always ask you guys for the evidence, but you never ever give it us. So how does something like what Bewildered Ape did okay? Because you know what, you don't have to be sorry. We're not saying you have to be sorry. We'd just like you to be accountable. At least, you know, Jenny McDermott did apologise. I mean, she didn't have to, you know, nobody has to. Some people can do whatever they want, but two wrongs don't make a right, or as I like to say with you guys, one wrong and a perceived wrong don't make a right.
I think that Sequester Zone is right, but the point being is, when Jenny did her last video, not the one where she's sorry, but the one prior to that, and then I did a video, the whole point was no matter how much you try to point out to the fans of Thunderfoot that they are completely hypocritical, they either refuse to get it or they just can't get it.
That's funny, because you never ever tell us why we're hypocritical, just as much as you never give us evidence for perceived cruel acts and insensitivity from Thunderfoot. Come on. We're sick of having these circular arguments. You either give us the evidence for your arguments or you just don't argue. At this point, it's nothing but conjecture and opinion. Did you actually ever write essays at school? Did they ever tell you point, evidence, explain?
And they feel that there's rules for Thunderfoot and there's rules for everybody else, and the whole reason is because of fanboying.
Well, that's funny, because when you talk about different standards for Thunderfoot and different standards for everyone else, that's exactly what you do. That's exactly what you guys do with Anita Sarkeesian, with what you do with Jenny McDermott, what you do with Zoe Quinn, Brianna Wu, Randy Harper. The list goes on. I could name you all the hypocritical actions that you guys do, but this is just one of them. When you point and project to us the very actions that you do and try to pass it off as if we're the ones that are actually doing it. You see, if I disagreed with Thunderfoot, I would tell him. If Thunderfoot had said something really nasty and mean and slanderous and libelous, his fans would call him out. Because you know why? Because they are rational people. They understand how argument works, and I would expect it no less of the people who follow me, even if they're very short in number compared to Thunderfoot. And, you know, it's all about disclosure. And as far as I know, Thunderfoot's shown more disclosure than you guys have ever shown.
Now, I know I'm going to get response videos from the little boys, you know, in their rooms that they should have cleaned. If you're going to do a response video, you got to clean your room first, okay?
If you can actually tell a decent joke, perhaps I might clean my room. Also, by the way, I'm 21. Stop being ageist, shitlord. I mean, if you're just going to throw around ad hominems, go ahead, make my day. I've got all the time in the world.
And that's fine. But I think that you have to really look in the mirror and ask yourself, why is there one rule for one person and one rule for another person?
Oh, don't worry, I have. But it's nothing to do with Thunderfoot. It's all to do with you and how you perceive the likes of Bewildered Ape, Nit Sarkeesian, etc. I mean, we all know how you absolutely went off on Glebs when he insulted your divine goddess. Come on. But, there's no use arguing with you. You're set in your ways. I can try and debate with you with the skill of Socrates if I could. I mean, not that I have his skills. Just a clarification there. It was a figurative mode of speech I was using. But, it would be a pointless thing to try and do. Now,
Bewildered Ape, just as Sequester Zone was pointing out, could have easily just been trying to get through to Thunderfoot, and he did get through to Thunderfoot. But it remains to be seen whether or not it means anything.
There's no could it easily have been. There's no buts, ifs, perhaps, maybes. Bewildered Ape was trying to get at Thunderfoot. There was nothing satirical. He can claim that he verbatim copied Thunderfoot's video, but he didn't really. There was no satirical quality to it. Come on, and he didn't get through to Thunderfoot at all. You're deluding yourself if you think he did. What, do you think Thunderfoot did an amazing critique of his video? He didn't even give him the courtesy of a dislike or even a comment, as far as I'm aware. He's a nobody to Thunderfoot.
We all know that Thunderfoot is pretty thick-headed about how he treats people.
No, we don't. So I'm aware it's all just conjecture and projection and your own personal opinions on him. I don't know how Thunderfoot treats people. I don't know the man. And I've not seen any evidence that points to him being thick-headed towards anyone, as far as I'm aware. He usually treats his fans with the utmost respect, and we reciprocate that.
And there's plenty of times where he's behaved really awfully.
Again, what times? You never ever tell us. You never ever tell us. We keep asking you, what are these times where he treats people horribly? When has he been a horrible, disgusting human being? You never ever tell us. You never ever show us, because, to be quite frankly, there are no times where he's done this. You are either lying, or you have no evidence to back up your claims. Maybe you do believe he's done something, maybe it's second hand. But until then, I don't believe you, because, I've asked you time and time again, you've shown nothing, and I'm wasting my breath.
So, again, I don't know the man personally, but what I do know of him is really awful.
That's the thing. It's what you know of. All you've heard. It's not what you've seen. It's not what you've looked at, even though that's technically the same thing. It's just all conjecture. There's no evidence. You've not got a leg to stand on, Witch. Come on. Admit it. You almost did.
And I'm not sorry that he got hassled in the exact same way he hassles other people.
But he doesn't, does he? And that just makes you look like a horrible, horrible person now, doesn't it? You can justify it in any way you like. But the fact remains, there is no evidence that Thunderfoot harasses people, is horrible to them. He can be insensitive to their arguments. But that's just the nature of debates, isn't it? It's not about patting people on the back, it's about actually tackling the issues at hand and their arguments. And if that means that you're going to be harsh in your judgment of those arguments, then so be it. If it hurts your feelings, that's your problem, not ours, and certainly not Thunderfoot's. So, what are you getting at? You do realise that an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth is not a good way to live one's life. It's the reason why we have as barbaric acts as the death penalty. But I'm trying not to, exaggerate too much here. If I happen to be, I apologise.
And nobody has said anything about, what about the rape victims that he mocked? Were their parents dying while he was mocking rape victims online?
Again, he didn't do that. That's you straw-manning him, as you have done through the entire video and all your videos about him. Again, you have no argument, you have no evidence, you don't have anything to stand on. And it's funny that you treat me like a child, that you argue like a child. So how does that make you look? I'm sorry, I'm just saying what I see and hear.
Did they hear his videos? How did they feel?
Nobody felt anything because no victim was mocked. If anything, it was people like Rebecca Watson who he was criticising, who were doing the mocking. People like Mattress Girl who were doing the mocking. How do you think... Now, I don't know if this porn star's parents are still alive. I assume they are. She's only in her 30s. Cytherea, have you heard of her? She was a woman who was actually raped. Actually, physically raped, as well as robbed, in front of her children, by two robbers. Gangbanged, yes. How do you think her parents felt seeing Mattress Girl lie in front of the press, and people like Rebecca Watson and other feminists and other social justice warriors hold her up onto that pedestal, while the truth basically unravelled before everyone? How do you think they felt? I certainly don't think they were angered by Thunderfoot. I think they would actually be agreeing with him, and I certainly know that Cytherea would be on Thunderfoot's side on this matter. But you know what? You don't want to know. You wouldn't care about that because it doesn't fit your agenda. You just want to hate Thunderfoot. You want to hate Thunderfoot? Fine. But don't hate him through lies and deceit. Actually have a legitimate reason. Look, if you hate him for his arguments, fine. But mocking rape victims when he never did?
Nobody cares. Nobody cares.
You'll find people do care about rape victims quite a lot. The problem is, when people like you use them constantly for agenda-driven debates, to use them to point score, to get at people because they don't happen to have the same opinion as you, maybe people will become less caring, especially with events like the UVA problems and Mattress Girl. Don't you think? You're telling us to think about what we're saying and what Thunderfoot's like. You guys never once have the self-awareness to think about what you say and what you think. Don't lecture us on that.
What about Anita Sarkeesian? She talks about her abuse, but were her parents dying? Are they alive? What is she going through in her private life?
Using the age-old, tiring, horrible, stupid argument about Anita Sarkeesian's harassment has no bearing on this. It doesn't make you look any better about you not feeling sorry about basically using someone's father dying of cancer to belittle him, to get at him, okay? You can make all the excuses you can. It isn't going to work because people do not like those things, I think you'll find.
While this man is unleashing a horde of, childish harassers who are going to threaten her continuously.
He doesn't though, does he? There's no evidence for that. Again, you keep making him look out to be this massive bully, the male Randy Harper. But no, he's not. He hasn't advocated that. He hasn't told people to go out and harass her. You can say whatever you want, but until we have the evidence, which you will never give us, I won't believe you, because I've seen it. I've seen what she's done. She's the one who sets out all the Twitter hate mobs against people. Her and Macintosh and Randy Harper, they're the ones doing it. Not Thunderfoot.
Because he mocks her.
So, what's wrong with mocking? You mock me about my room and my age. Hypocrisy much?
And diminishes her claims.
Because her claims have no legs to stand on. Much like your video right now, what you're presenting to us. She knows that she can't peddle the sexism in video games shite anymore. So what does she do? She becomes the very thing she tried to tell us that she wasn't. The Jack Thompson of video games, part 2. With her saying that video games cause violence and how she was embarrassing herself at E3. Speaking of E3, she showed she was a hypocrite by taking photos of booth babes without their consent, and yet she has the gall to tell Ben of the Drunken Peasants to always get permission to take pictures of women. Right, it's okay when you guys do it, isn't it? But when we do something, it's horrible, we're hypocrites, we're nasty people, we're just mocking you. Give me a break.
And all those were the things that Bewildered Ape was pointing out in his satire.
Again, when you guys mock people, You know? But not in good taste, like we try to do, when you guys actually mock something as serious as cancer rather than an argument. It's okay, it's just satire with you. But if we were to do it, gosh, whew, it'd be a bloody shitstorm, wouldn't it?
And turning the tables on him and making him see how awful it was.
Bewildered Ape didn't turn any tables. He didn't make Thunderfoot see how awful he was. Otherwise, wouldn't have Thunderfoot have given him the response he craved? That you crave? No, he didn't. Because you're nothing to him. You're people that he makes videos on for the lulz. He does it because he finds you funny. You know, that you have such outlandish opinions of him. The fact that you can use such low tactics against him. But you know what? I'm going to take a cue from his page. I'm not going to bother with you again, Laughing Witch. You're not worth it. Not really. This will be my last video on you. And I know, I've said before in other videos, never say never. But really, no. I don't want to do another video on you. Because you're unapologetic, and that's fine. I'll just let your videos speak for themselves. I probably don't need to point it out for other people. And so, I end this video. This has been CharmingMan93. Like and share the video. Drop a comment, subscribe to my channel. And if I sound very quiet, that's because I'm trying not to be disturbing. But probably have been. See you later.